UltraCycling magazine, formerly known as the Ohio Ram Show.
Watching the latest live version of the UltraCycling magazine, the show about everything ultracycling and everything else bicycling. Hey Lee, how's it going tonight?
Hey, it's going well here. It's kind of been a dull, dreary day here in Ohio.
Yep, we've got some exciting things going on outside the studio here. We got the
Oh,
Ride of the Skeletons going on.
my goodness,
Halloween
that
time.
just looks like so much work.
It is.
So now I know you do something similar for Christmas. Do you just switch from one to the other when you?
Yeah, kinda. Everything comes down, all these things go down, and the skeletons come off the bikes, and then we do Christmas stuff. So we'll have a picture of that during Christmas time.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, it's been a dull and dreary day here.
Yes.
Rainy, cold, blustery. Was what Pooh would say, a blustery day, I guess.
Yes, definitely.
And but we're here and we're ready to have a great show.
Definitely.
And we're here, as always, to celebrate the people who work at our time stations in the Race Across America here in Ohio. Time stations 41 in Oxford, 42 in Blanchester, 43 in Chillicothe.
Yes,
And of
sir.
course, we want to also celebrate Mike Minium, the sign man who puts these signs up from central uh, Indiana to central Ohio.
Yep.
He'd do it coast to coast if he could, I expect. But
I think he would, definitely.
and we'll tell you a little later on how to get one of those signs as a souvenir. I know I see them from all over the world, literally,
Yes.
Jim, and we'll tell you how to get one
Yes,
in
definitely.
a while. Hey, we want to welcome new followers.
Mm-hmm.
We had some new ones this week. We want to welcome new subscribers on YouTube. And we would invite you to follow on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. And when you subscribe on YouTube, Jim, what are we supposed to do?
We're going to ring that bell.
That's right. Ring that bell, and that
Definitely.
makes sure that you get notifications anytime we post something there.
Yep.
We don't abuse that privilege, folks, but you will want to know what we're doing there all
Definitely.
the time.
Get notification, yes.
What's going on with giveaways tonight, Jim?
Tonight we're giving away one of the mouse pads, and if you would, in the comments as you're watching, type in hashtag UCM, UltraCycling Magazine, UCM, and you'll be registered into the drawing at the end of the show for that mouse pad.
Okay, well, how could you not want one of those?
Definitely.
And you know, it's kind of fun to win something.
Exactly.
So,
Yep, we had a winner last week of that wonderful book. Yep.
Yeah. And Jim also tell us about our new website.
Yep, let me bring that up real quick. UCM.bike is the website, and it basically takes you to the old Ohio Ram Show website right now, and that's where you'll find all the past shows and the current show and new ones. And the show notes are very important, right, Lee?
They are very well, and that's the best place to find them because we often add things at the very last minute to the show notes. So we can't add them every place they show up on Facebook and YouTube, but you'll find them there. And I like that URL so well. UCM Bike. That's about as simple as it can be. UCM.bike.
Yep, definitely.
And that'll get you there.
Yep.
Race the Pearls going on this weekend, Jim, and
Yes.
I was hoping I could tell you that we had in the show notes the results.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I understood we get those. You can see some of them on the Race the Pearls Facebook page. It's in a JPEG form, a little hard to read, but get your magnifying glass out. You'll see them.
There you go.
So I'm not going to try to give them all. But we did have Annie Shamali became the first woman to win what they call the elusive Race the Pearl jersey for completing that 600 kilometers in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
They're in the beautiful country of Sri Lanka.
Yep.
Never been there, but all the pictures are just stunning.
Definitely.
And we hope to hear more. Now, in the show notes, you'll see a link to our playlist
Mm-hmm.
where Granny Kartik has been sending us reports, and we will hope to have a roundup there as well.
Yep.
By the way, our friend Srini was there racing.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, he was there
Excellent.
this year.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't win it. I don't have that information, but there was a gentleman who just from the Sri Lankan army just blew that place away.
Really? Wow.
So yeah.
Outstanding.
So we have a report on Psycho 48 from Carol and Rich Belleville. Jim.
Okay, we'll go ahead and play that from them. Here we go.
It's Carol and Rich from the Psycho 48. That happened last weekend. Pretty much a raving success, if I don't say so myself. We had about 100 people riding. We had some crazy wind the whole weekend. It was blowing pretty consistently, 30. At least 20. 30. Had some crazy results, all things considered. The winner of the 24, 478 miles, which, considering the wind, that would have been 500 had it not been windy. I have no doubt. He's being very humble about it and saying, nah. New course record for the Psycho. Only 10 miles behind him was Henry Doe. So yeah, 468. Jimmy Toner came in third. He's only 26 years old. He had 463 miles. So only. So it's interesting that we've got some new blood, so to speak, and it'll be interesting to see how these guys perform as the years go on. We can't mention or finish this without mentioning Christy, the first female. She ended up with 387. Speaking of women, Misha Heller, it depends on. She did the 48, ended up with 607 miles. The gentleman that took the 48 win was
Ingolf.
Sorry, Mingoff.
Good old Ingolf.
Ingolf Miklish. He was in Ram this year and had to pull out for food poisoning, but he's already signed up for next year. But he did 670. Georgie took the win on the standard bike with the 12 and 250 something.
It was pretty good.
Sarah Delamar took the women's first place. Registration for the 24 opens on April 15th. So while you're paying your taxes, you can sign up for the Psycho. How cool is that? Yeah. We will cap once again at 150. Website is thepsycho48.com. Oh yeah, we had quite the
elderly crowd.
Senior, what's politically correct?
Not elderly.
No, well, we had an 80 to 89 age group. Actually, Luca breaks it up. Bill Ingraham, 82, and did about 100 and something miles.
He did good.
And he drove down from Massachusetts. And Gerald Edelman, who is legendary. I think that's about all we got.
That was a great report from them, Lee.
Yeah, they're certainly a fun couple. I will have to say that they're just so fun to talk to, and we kind of got to talking. I had to do a lot of editing on that within bounds, but it's a good report. And also on the show notes at ucm.bike, when you look up tonight's show, I forget the number of it, but it'll be the top one. You'll see a link to all the results from the Psycho 48 there. You might want to look them over. And well, he's not new to hardly anybody in UltraCycling.
Definitely not.
But he's new to us as a reporter.
Yes.
Roll it, Jim.
All right.
Hi, my name's Brian Welsh. I'm an ultracyclist, but also I will be reporting for UltraCycling magazine.
There you go. That's a great addition to our overseas reporters. Yes, it did.
Okay, I didn't see it run here.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. You notice we're saying to people that they're not the reporter for Switzerland.
Right.
They're the reporter from Switzerland.
Yes, definitely.
Because the world is their parish, so to speak. They can report on anything they want to. And Brian was just full of ideas. And that's what we want on these people. We want them to take the initiative so we don't have to keep digging ourselves so much.
Definitely.
Helps us out a great deal.
There you go. And it gives people a chance to look at something better than our faces.
Next weekend's big one,
Yep.
this week coming up.
It's the World Time Trial Championships in Borrego. And we will have some reporters on the ground there. And we should have some good reports.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you what, if anybody's going to Borrego
mhm.
That thinks they'd like to try their hand at becoming a reporter, just take that phone, hold it horizontally.
There you go. Definitely.
Horizontal, please. You know, our eyes are like this, like this. And shoot us a little video, do an interview, talk to somebody, or just tell us what's going on in the background and shoot it. Get in touch with us. We'll tell you how to send it. And we'd love to have you try out and become one of our reporters here.
Definitely. It would be a great
And by the way,
thing.
Jim, you do not know this, maybe.
Okay.
I have stumbled onto, as a result of Grinny, another person from Sri Lanka who I think, and I understand they are interested because Grinny talked to them.
Okay.
I'm a reporter there as well. So we just continue to grow like this. And
excellent. And the more reporters we have out there, the more stuff we can give everybody.
We can do.
Definitely.
And then Deccan Cliffhanger is coming up on November 10th. I think Grinny's I don't know if she's going to go, but she's going to be able to give us a report on it.
Definitely. And we want to say hey to Jerry Brick, who's out there watching. Thank you.
Hi, Jerry.
And thank you for commenting. And thank you for doing this hashtag UCM.
That's right. So next week, we're going to have Phil Fox back again. We're going to talk about randonneuring more. And we're still fleshing that out a little bit. But
definitely,
we don't have a graphic for Phil. He's such a good-looking guy. He makes Jim and I kind of pale in comparison. So we don't want to put his picture up too much.
Excellent. Well, do you think it's time to bring our wonderful guest on for tonight?
Get out to Nevada.
Nevada.
Yes.
Hey, Caleb, how are you tonight?
Hey, great, guys. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for showing up.
What town are you in out there?
So I live in Pahrump. It's on the other side of a mountain from Las Vegas.
Gotcha.
So
when I saw that name, I thought, is that a real name or is that a phony?
Believe it or not, it is a real name. It is a real place.
It just looks like something would show up in a cartoon. I shouldn't say that about it. I'm sure it's a lovely place to be. I thought, that's a really strange name.
Definitely.
It's dirt.
Hey, I'll lead it off here, and then I'm going to kind of let Jim take the lead. Tell us a little bit about your cycling, but how you got into cycling, how long you've been doing it, and how whatever possessed you to get in this crazy sport called UltraCycling.
Well, so I've only been riding for 4 years. This is my 4th year. And I got started in Alaska, believe it or not. At the time, my wife was in the Army stationed in Fairbanks, and she left to do some summer training. And so I just went and bought a bike from REI. It was a cheap one. And after a couple rides through the city, I'm like, man, I'm hooked. This is awesome. You know, where can I get more? And I met some guys at a bike shop, and they invited me out for some mountain bike rides. And initially that was my first love, but man, once we moved back to the lower 48, we actually moved back to Oklahoma, and that's where it started. You know, the country roads that go on forever. It was just, you know, how farther can you go, and what's the next thing? And so when I moved here to Las Vegas, I joined a cycling club in Las Vegas, and the president of the club was into the California Triple Crown stuff, and so that's initially where I started. Was just doing 200 milers, and I did 3 or 4 in a year, and I thought, man, you know, like, this is what's harder than this. You know, after you do a couple of them, you learn how to pace yourself. Well, the next later that year, I met Caleb Klein right before his world record attempt.
Mm-hmm.
And he rode out to my house and was like, "Hey man, look, the next thing we got going on is the World Time Trial Championships. Why don't you come out and see what happens?" And so last year's World Time Trial Championships was where I really got my feet wet with Ultra. And ever since then, it's just been a snowball, of course. There's just so much to get involved in. So it's really, you know, it's been a great year so far. So
Yeah, definitely. And you had a really good finish at the HooDoo, did you not, this year?
I did, yes. It was it was great. It's probably my favorite race this year that I had done. The scenery was beautiful. The course was difficult. Um, I just can't wait to go back and do it next year. And of course, next year, it's the World UltraCycling Championship
Mm-hmm.
next year. It's
Yep.
going to be the HooDoo. So, after I finished, I was like, man, I'm never doing this again. It was hard, but here I am, going to sign up for next year again. So I'll go give it a stab.
Excellent. Now, what's your real soon plans? What have you got going next?
So we're going to Borrego Springs in next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's next in the chute. And then after that, I really set my sight on solo raw. I did raw as a team this last year, so we're going to try and whatever the next hardest thing is, we're just going to keep going until I can't. So
There you go. Yeah, and you will
yeah.
finish strong, I'm sure. And that's building you up for a possible Ram solo.
I would like to attempt a solo ram. I guess the ultimate goal is to finish, but in 2025, you know, a lot can happen in 2 years. But between now and then, hopefully everything goes according to plan and we can make it out there.
Excellent.
That's the goal.
Definitely. Now, what kind of, being an ultra cyclist, what's the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome yourself to do these long distances? Has it been mental? Has it been food, nutrition, or just general body stuff? Or what's been your biggest hurdle?
The change in the weather for me personally has been the biggest hurdle. I worked really hard this past year with a nutritionist to try and get the food dialed in, and I'm a disabled veteran as well, and so I have a lot. I feel like being in the Army has given me that mental strength,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of mental strength. So between the two, physically, me and my coach talked about, hey, what are we going to have? You're going to sign a contract. We're going to pull you from the course if this happens. And so I
Wow.
told him that the only way I'm leaving is if it's in an ambulance. So physically, the only way I was going was if an ambulance had to come get me. So I think the weather changes is what really wrecked me, especially at HooDoo, was the extreme changes from the heat in the middle of the day to the cold rain in the middle of the night way
Mm-hmm.
up in the mountains and then back to the heat in the next day. So, but just the heat in some of the ones in the earlier part of the season is just, if you're not acclimated to that, you're going to get whipped real quick.
Definitely, definitely. Um, Lee, do you have any questions for Caleb?
Well, I don't have a question right now, but I see some people out there watching, and if you'd like to have one of the one of the hashtags, one of, one of the mouse tags, just either on Facebook or YouTube, either place, just put in the comments section hashtag UCM for Ultra Cycling Magazine, and that puts you in the running for one of our new mouse pads with a brand new logo on. And I don't think we've really given any of these away yet, have
No,
we?
this will be the first night that
The
we're
first,
doing
you
this.
get the
Yes.
first one. It'll be autographed by Jim and myself both. I mean, wow. Now,
What more could you ask for?
what more could you ask for?
There you go.
Just UCM, hashtag UCM, and you'll get in the hopper here at the end of the
Definitely.
show. But I bet you some people have questions out there.
Yeah, send us your questions, and if you're not going to send us your questions, just tell us where you're watching from, because I see people out there watching, definitely. Uh, Caleb, what kind of training are you doing now for Borrego and future, or or was there a training difference for the HooDoo that you're not doing for Borrego, or vice versa?
So the way I tried to stagger the races this year was to kind of just keep building off of base miles from earlier, your base endurance. I have done more interval training as opposed to HooDoo was a lot of longer rides with, lower intensity, more miles. And then as we get closer to uh, Borrego, it was just intervals of different intensity. So, last year when I did the world time trial, I had no previous coaching up to that point. So, I basically read a whole bunch of stuff online and tried to, what can I work out myself? And, it wasn't too bad. I did better than I thought going into it. So this year, hopefully with a little bit more, experience and having the narrowed down the training so that it's not just a broad spectrum of, man, I'm just riding 25 hours a week, what am I doing more specifically? So we tried to kind of cut out some of the people call them junk miles, but I just love to ride bikes, and so I don't
Mm-hmm.
really see any miles as junk miles as long as you're riding a bike.
There you
But
go.
kind of try to narrow down specifics. So I'm curious to see how it will be different, how it will play out. And last year the weather was like perfect. There was hardly
Mm-hmm.
no wind. It got a little chilly at night, but for the most part it was great weather. And this year looks like to be pretty close to the same. We're looking at the forecast heading into the weekend, so hopefully we can keep that wind out of there.
Definitely,
And
wind's a killer, and that's why I guess you
yeah,
didn't go out today, because you had a wind advisory there where you live, right?
oh yeah, and the high desert, you never know what you're going to get, but for the most part in the spring and fall, it's just super wind, gusts in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
So we just try to keep it practical this close to the time trial and not go out and you know risk life and limb
There you
for some
go.
intervals when you can do it inside. So
Definitely. So that's what's going to be my next question. I guess you do train indoors also. Is there a ratio that you do, or is it just when you can't go outside, you jump on the bike inside?
that's really my goal with that is whatever he puts into training peaks, I just try my very best to do exactly that. Whether and if it can't, because I have my 2-year-old son a couple of days a week. So
Mm-hmm.
when he's here and he's napping or when he goes to bed, those days, I just try and get it in on the trainer at night so that I can make sure I'm here if he wakes up. And then on days when I don't have him, when the weather is decent, I definitely try. I would prefer to ride outside.
Gotcha. Yep.
If it's possible, I would much rather be outside. But the inside training is good because you can control all of the aspects.
Mm-hmm.
You can control the temperature and your nutrition, and you don't have to worry about cars or weather. Um, and now it's so realistic. You can go do hill climbs if you wanted to, or you can do a flat time trial if you want to.
Definitely.
It's pretty realistic. So.
Yeah. Now for Borrego, what type of bike are you going to be riding? Road bike, time trial bike? Or are you going to have both there, or?
So last year I did, believe it or not, I did it on an aluminum 10-speed Cervelo,
Wow.
and so it was not, just given the first time, I'm like, well, I'll just go out and try it, and this is what I
Yep.
got to work with. So getting a little bit farther out into the deep end of UltraCycling here, this year I will definitely take two bikes for sure. That
Mm-hmm.
way, if something happens to the one, and we have a great team going with us, so it will be um, some guys that can help fix stuff on the spot.
Gotcha.
And of course, you don't want to get stuck, especially in a time trial
Mm-hmm.
situation, without moving as much as possible. So I'll try and do the majority of it on a time trial bike.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the only thing that will come into play, obviously, is the wind and
Right.
how hard it is to keep the bike upright on the road. So
Gotcha. Now, do you have any sponsors or any charities that you want to talk about, or are you into that yet for your raw and
so
ram stuff?
I have not necessarily gotten into the thick of that yet, but I
Mm-hmm.
do ride for Caleb Klein's nonprofit, the Rusty Dogs of War, is what I've been representing this full year out on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And just so we can bring awareness to disabled veterans and trying to bring, let guys know that there is, life outside of your disabilities, and so that guys can still, this past year we actually gave a guy, we were able to get a recumbent bike for a guy with back and neck problems that used to jump out of
Outstanding.
airplanes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a big win for us. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been riding for, Infinity Seat is the one of the main sponsors for RAM
Mm-hmm.
in some of the races. They'll be at the World Time Trial Championships.
Yep.
And,
Right back there. There's one
Dr.
hanging on the wall.
Dr. Vince, oh man, Dr.
Yep.
Vince and Diane are just two of the best people I've probably ever met. And
Yep. That's all we
you know,
ride
it's been,
anymore.
dude, I have been so fortunate to be on their team and be a part of Infinity Seat.
Okay.
And this can be a plug-in if you don't have one and you're listening. You should try it out.
Definitely.
You won't regret
Definitely.
it. You won't regret it. And so I've been in Infinite Nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are a veteran-owned company out. They're actually in Ohio as well.
Yes.
And they great guys. They were also really fortunate to be on their team and be able to ride with their nutrition, because I've done thousands of miles on a bike and never had stomach issues, digestion problems, none of that stuff. So
That's awesome.
I literally could not do it without Infinite and Infinity Seat.
Yep.
So between your nutrition and your saddle, I feel like that's the most important part
There
of
you go. Yep.
UltraCycling.
Definitely. Excellent. Lee?
I'm just sitting here enjoying and listening to you. Jimmy.
Gee, thanks, Lee. So, future plans for you is Ram 2025 and then Raw next
Mhm.
year. Do you have any render? I can't even say the word. What's the word, Lee? The rando word.
Randonneuring.
Yes.
Oh man, my goal beyond RAM would be to do some bike packing. So I suppose randonneuring is a huge part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the old, this year's PvP, I knew a lot of guys that were out doing that. It looks like a lot of fun. I just don't know if I'm comfortable enough to step into without a support car. I know that makes me sound like a baby, but
No, not at all.
I have a lot of respect for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
This year at HooDoo, there were some guys that were randonneuring, and there's a guy named Dave Haas, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's finished Ram a few times solo, and man, he just motored through the night and all the rain and the bad weather, and I was like, man, I don't know how he did that without support. So I don't know how those guys. But that's the best part about ultracycling. There's always more things to learn and people to meet and advice to be had. And so
Yep.
I'm looking forward to getting my feet wet with that in the future.
Excellent.
After 2025, the goal is to stay in shape and not get hurt
Mm-hmm.
between now and then. So
Definitely.
but I for sure see that in the future.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I wanted to personally thank you for being a veteran, serving our country. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
There's not enough thanks out there for you guys and gals. So, Lee, do you have anything else, or do
Yeah,
we
I
want
wanted to,
Okay.
add to that consideration for your service to us. So few people seem to be involved in that. Like, I
Mhm.
grew up, everybody was in the military, and
Yep.
very common. But yeah, so we appreciate what you do. It's very, very important.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No,
Excellent.
like I said, I was having a little sound problems on my end, so I'm just kind of sitting here listening to this all.
Okay. Hopefully, I did us justice tonight.
Oh, you did well.
All
You did
right.
well. So
We had a great guest that carried me. That was nice.
you know what? We're just gonna have to give that mouse pad to Jerry.
I think so. Yeah, I'm not even going to spin because he's the only one out there. All the other people watching didn't want to get it, I guess.
They don't like our mouse pads for some
They
reason.
don't realize how much it's going to be worth in the future.
Yeah, it's going to
Right, 2 signatures and everything.
There you go. There you
Our
go.
autographs. I mean, what you just say? So
Definitely.
So tell Jerry how to get in touch with us. I think he knows how, but
yeah, basically email us at info@ucm.bike. info@ucm.bike. And we'll get it out to you.
Thanks a lot, Caleb.
Yes, and good luck next week at
thank you guys for having
Borrego.
me.
We'll be watching
Absolutely.
the results come in.
Yep.
And we want to thank all the viewers out there, even if you
Definitely.
didn't want one of our mouse pads.
There you go.
We still
We
love
have
you.
to find something somebody wants, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
well, you
Caleb, if you get a chance, take a couple of videos while you're out at Borrego and send them to us, and we'll get you as a reporter out there.
Oh, absolutely, I can do that.
Oh,
Definitely.
we just had a comment pop up here.
Let me get to that.
Oh man, Brooke is one of my. I met that guy a long time
Henderson,
ago.
thank you for.
Yep.
For chiming
one
in
of my
here.
UltraCycling heroes.
There you go. Excellent. Well, thanks for commenting, Brooke. And do you think we should go out there and find our wonderful?
Go find Greg.
Yep. All right.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.